Um, I like to title it as reasonless depression, right? Because there could always be a lot of reasons why a person is depressed. So even in my life, I mean, I was pampered in my life by my father, who passed away when I was in ninth standard, my mother, my sister, everybody. I didn't have much to complain about, but I had complaints, right? And there were always reasons why I would complain from life. There would always be reasons why I'm depressed, reasons why I'm frustrated. But 2 years back, around 1.5, 2 years back, there was a time when I was working from home, I was sitting in my room, and out of the blue, there is this bad feeling in your guts, right? It's not right. It's something bad. I'm not feeling good about it. And generally, a person like me would either hit a gym, go to play tennis, call friends, go to coffee places, chit chat, do some innovation, do something new, and distract myself from it, right? I think distraction is helps, but it only helps temporary. I think distraction is like putting things under the rug. It will come out eventually. So, but that day I tried. I went to Netflix. I started seeing the series which I was watching earlier. I didn't feel like the feeling did not go. Okay, so I got up. I ate some soul food, and Pilar and KL would understand what I'm talking about. I ate those food items, but did not help. So today it was a little different. Nothing was really helping me out, right? The feeling grew bad in my stomach. So I started researching on this topic, depression, feelings, etc. Then I said, okay, let me apply my learnings, right? I have read Power of Now. I follow Jiddu Krishnamurthy's learnings, and I follow Eckhart Tolle's learning. I'm a mindfulness coach. I train people on these things. Let me apply it on myself. And okay, breathe in, breathe out, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not working, right? Okay, enter the now. What now? Now is miserable. Where do I go? I'm feeling bad. Then I start looking for, because my body is getting heated up. I'm feeling very low on my energy, and it's draining down. I can feel the spiral. And I start looking for, I start Googling, okay, a good therapist in Bangalore, right? I need to meet somebody. Um, Things are going bad, things are going bad, to a point where I started looking emergency number for therapist. It was going that bad.
Oh my God.
And then I'm literally frozen in my room, and I'm saying, oh, my mom is sitting out there in the living area. How do I shout out to her for help? I need her to come in. And I'm really funneling down, and I don't know if it was only psychological, it was a panic attack, it was crash, I don't know. But that is where it escalated in like 20-30 minutes. It escalated from, oh, let's breathe, to how do I call out for my mom who's sitting in the next room? I'm not able to do it. And then I said, okay, let it be. If it is what it is, let me this time not go into distraction. Let me entering into the awareness and whatever it means, right? Which means now I started looking at myself. Yes, what's happening with me? Okay, my gut is feeling really, really bad. It's feeling worse than a stomach infection. My head is heated. I'm feeling like crying. And then I see it all. And believe me when I say it, when you see it all, it becomes worse. It doesn't become better. So it's getting bad now, right? And then I ask myself a question: why is this happening? Why am I upset? What's my complaint? I had this, that, and I won't go into what are those, this and that. But I came up with 5, 6 answers, and then I really asked, do you really think that those are the reasons? And I came upon the first point, which said, no, it's reasonless. It's there in me. This is my reality. This is the kind of person I am. I am a person with intense depression, frustration, and things like that within me. There is no reason. Reasons are just triggers which takes this out of me. But this is reality of me. I completely accept it. There are no reasons to it. This is what I am. What happens with that? I feel even worse. It's getting bad. And remember, 2 stages before, I was at a level where, oh, how do I call my mom? So I mean, get the gravity of the situation, where I was 2 layers below it now, right? I'm like, oh, damn it. This is what I am. There is no escaping, because if you have a reason, you can work towards it. A therapist can work around the reasons with it. But no, and intelligence is sometimes a worse enemy. So I talk about, oh, the vitamin D and vitamin Bs that I had sometime back. But guess what? 1 week back, I had all my regular health checkups done. Everything is fine. So I don't think that's the reason, right? And I'm fooling myself with all of these things and it's going. So it is reasonless. I accept it. So first I recognize it. I accept it completely. And it's going really, really down the drains. To a point where maybe some of the things that I read and etc. I said, okay, let's give it a thought, right? So let's just see it completely how bad it is, but let's try and not feed it thought, even to a point that it's reasonless. It is what it is. Let me see it completely, and it's going still darker and darker and darker and darker. But now I think I did not feed it thoughts enough. And there was a point in time when I think I did not judge it, which means, oh shit, I'm dead, right? There is no case over here. It is it. Let me just sit through it, right? Let me not feed it thought. Let me not feed it judgment. Let me not even feed it judgment. It is bad or good. It is what it is. And luckily for me, and I say this luckily because I think you should generally, before even hitting this stage, people should go for professional help. Let me put it on record, because things could go really ugly. I felt it in me, right? But I think there was a point where I could investigate this. That, okay, there is no reason because of which you are here, but what do you want from me, right? And this, I think, would be different for different people based on conditioning. But what I could do is I could try to talk to it as an entity, right? What do you want out of me? I mean, do you want to kill me? What do you want from me, right? Why are you here? And I think this is one of the most critical point that comes in mindfulness practice, is what after studies and after evaluation, I think it came in, is as soon as I did this entity of what I had, this non-identification, that investigation helped me a non-identification, which means if I'm asking that entity, what do you want from me? That entity and me are different. I didn't understand at that point in time, but after math of the things, right? But when I could talk to it now, based on different conditioning, people might have different experiences. But what my experience was, that entity spoke to me, is that, Jimin, I'm here because I want to tell you, you need rest, mentally and physically. And if you don't take that rest, I will force it on you, which means essentially crash my body and mind, and I might get admitted, right? And that entity came and told me, yes, you need rest. And I said, yes, I am tired. I am tired mentally. I am tired physically, for whatsoever reason. I expect too much out of myself. And I said, yeah, I need rest. And that is the point when I had almost at the rock bottom, but I could faintly at the end of the tunnel, I could see the light somewhere. And I said, yes, I need rest, for whatsoever reason, right? I don't want to know why, but I need rest. And that non-identification immediately started a little bit of spiral up. And I could come back in control. I was still feeling bad in my guts for the rest of the day, etc. But I came in control, right? It was like a flower that could completely blossom and wither away without crashing me, right? And this was one of my personal experiences. Again, I think the mindfulness, I landed up doing that, and I experienced it, and I think it's powerful, but one has to experience it. So it's called RAIN, right? RAIN. And it's very hard to do it. From what I gave as an example, it's not going to be easy. Mindfulness never tells from the day one you're going to feel easy. For that, there are chemicals. But recognize, accept it, investigation, and non-identification. And this is where we can go from the practice of distraction to awareness, right? I don't want to go into too much philosophical aspects around this world, but the spiral of RAIN really helps. And it's not that beyond this, I don't feel depressed. I don't feel that gut thing, but I know now that the awareness part of it works, and it now works faster for me, right? And I don't hit really that rock bottom of the spiral into the dark, at least on that aspect. I hope that.
What's the last one? What does N stand for in RAIN?
Non-identification, which means you really see it as a separate entity. You see it as a pain body. You see it as whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, and it's hard. And from my experience, I would like to tell you, it's very, very, very hard, right? If you have a pain in your leg, mindfulness would tell us to observe it. while your thing would be, okay, I don't want to think about it, I want to think about something good, right? But from my personal one such episode, I think there is a good amount of personal proof for me that this entire thing works. So I really believe that most of these things are in all of us. It's reasonless, and investigating mindfully does work, but be very cautious of the point where you really have to go out and take help. Otherwise, things might really backfire. Be very, very, very careful in experimenting on self, and definitely don't experiment on others unless you are down with them and you are able to show step by step how to go ahead. Otherwise, don't advise anybody. It backfires. Boom, done. Could do it. So any feedback, any comments, anybody, any last thoughts before I think
I think, Jamin, for the incident that you narrated, the one thing I would like to acknowledge and appreciate is, of course, your awareness, because from what I have studied and what courses I've gone through in training to be a counselor, the number one thing that is encouraged or needed in a client is awareness.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be aware of what you're going through to
Yeah.
be able to decipher it, to be able to take it to the next level and probably, come to terms with it and see. So I would really like to acknowledge your awareness. I would like to appreciate your awareness, because, like I said, that's the first step. So that's something I would like to say.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor. I mean, there are people, I've read these theories from childhood, right? That you need to go from distraction to awareness, and only in awareness you can have attention and stuff like that. It's all good in theory, and it's all, you can talk about it over a nice piece of coffee and when rain is falling, but it's hard. But it works, is what I like to believe from my personal experience now. Yeah. Yeah, but anybody?
Jimmy, this is more of a general question,
Yes.
and many of us are practitioners of mindfulness or cognitive behavioral therapies, and
Yeah.
or even students of psychology.
Yeah.
In terms of dealing with people in our everyday lives, it could be either with, people at office or people at home, or with people,
Yeah.
even right outside your homes, right? Obviously, you can't clap with one hand, right? So how much is it important to be able to create that awareness around you as well, so that you operate in a very cohesive manner? It's like atoms within a setting, or so that you have or fishes in a tank, right? You can't obviously fill the tank just with fish and allow them to move, so it has to be in a very very smooth kind of a thing, maybe one complementary to the other, so an adequate space. So how do you actually build that sort of environment, and don't you think it's also important to be able to extend that, so various topics that we discussed today in terms of either helplessness or the CBT demo, right? How do you actually educate the circle around you? It could be a family, your own teams at office, because would that not help in getting better results versus you just actually trying to implement your learnings, right?
Yeah.
Even I have a similar question. I mean, I have been through this, and there had been a case where somebody told me, okay, you are aware of yourself, and that's why it's a good thing. But there are a lot of people who are not actually aware and being pushed into a therapy or something. How do you help those people? That's one question. Like, I think somewhere along the same lines.
I don't know. I mean, I'm in a very, very different mindset now. So the next answer which I give, you may not like, but there is nobody who can. You can't help anybody. Nobody can help you unless and until you come to that point. We are still a very judgmental mindset of people. oh, I'm aware, now I'll help you. No, if you are aware, you know that
That you
don't
need
know.
help.
No, yeah, that you need help and you don't know.
Yeah.
You know when you know that you don't know, right? And okay, no, so okay, let me put it the other way around. Tools, you can obviously explain it to people. Let them figure it out on their own. From there, you can't advise, you can't guide. Coaching is a very different style. People can help themselves only. Nobody can help people. You can't. Nobody can help you. Um, don't follow onto this image of holier than thou. No, please don't. We no, all of us are at same level. There is a common thread, is what I like to believe. There are just different triggers, and especially just keep one compass, one tip, right? Are you non-judgmental? The day you reach that stage, go ahead and claim you can help people, because
Okay.
if you say I can help people, you are already judgmental. The day you are really not judgmental, I would really want to come and talk to you and learn things from you. But before that, don't create that facade. But that doesn't mean you should not have that feeling of helping people. But that's a very different approach. You just give toolkits, and when you're saying you're helping people, maybe you're learning more from them than you are really helping them. Seriously, don't go with a mindset that, oh, I can help that person. Maybe that person is helping you. Yeah.
Piyush, there is a saying that that's very relevant in this case. The saying is that you can only take someone down a path as far as you have walked, right? So the first thing with respect to helping someone else would be, how much have you helped yourself? Like, how much have you gone to therapy? And now how much have let me take my own example. How much have I gone to therapy? How much have I dealt with my own triggers, identified that I have those triggers? See, and when I see somebody else going through that or having the similar trigger, because I have gone through it and because I have sat through therapy and because I have come to terms with it, I can say, or I can recognize and kind of say, hey, you know what, I think you need help in this. Trust me, I have done it and I think it helped and I think you need to go. So the whole point is that I can only go as far as, I mean, I can only take someone as far as I have gone. So the more I work on myself, the more I can, take someone else down the path. So I think that that is something to think about.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that.
Again, as I said, right, the day you think you have hit the mindfulness, we talk it so simply about mindfulness. Are you really
Yeah, it's
mindful
tough.
where your legs are touching the ground now?
Yeah, I just got mindful of that.
I mean, these are all real
Yeah.
big words, right? And we use
Right.
it so lame. Yeah, but yeah, let me stop there. I am gone into a little different mindset. I want to keep this a little more pragmatic and scientific, but yeah, we stick to that. I need to stop recording for sure.